Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Sofia Pastero. I am so excited to do today's video because everybody on TikTok is asking me to film this video, so that's why I'm here. But let me give you a quick introduction of who I am. My name is Sofia Pastero. I am a DACA recipient. I am a low-income first-generation college student. I am now entering my second year in the PhD program at Texas Christian University. And honestly, I'm really excited for today's video. I was talking to my mom about this and she was like, look, you have like a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge on this topic. And if people are asking you for help, share the wealth. So that's what I'm here for today. A lot of people on TikTok have been asking me, how did I do it? So behind me, you probably can tell, and I'll put the camera up a little bit so you can see more, my degrees. So my associate's degree, my master's, my bachelor's, my high school diploma, and I have two really important awards that I received in the past. I have more, but I don't want to stack the wall and it all fall down. So, but literally I'm here today to talk to you guys about how I funded my undergrad degree. And when I mean undergrad, I'm talking about associate's degree and bachelor's degree. And I basically paid my entire undergrad with scholarships. So I never had to take out a loan. I never had to pay out of pocket. I have been very, very blessed that I had a lot of guidance, and a lot of things I didn't have guidance. I had to figure it out myself, but that's why I'm here today, to really help you guys, to just guide you in the best way that I can. And I hope you'll take my advice. And if you have any questions, let me know and put it in the comment section. But you'll probably see that I'm looking down a lot, and I have my notebook, my little Beauty and the Beast notebook here, and I wrote a couple notes down. So don't mind me if I keep looking down, because I want to make sure I am looking at my notes and I don't want to miss a thing. Okay. So let's see. Oh, another thing I do want to say is I'm not just giving advice about just me as a DACA recipient and a student in college, but I have experience working at a community college. I actually worked at State College of Florida, which is where I got my associate's degree last year. And I worked for a program that helped low-income first generation and students with a disability and how to navigate higher education. So I was part of that program, and I helped so many students. And I helped so many students get money. So I also have that experience as well. And I want to incorporate that as I'm going on with the video today. So let me start by my first advice to you guys, which is something that a lot of people are going to roll their eyes. And I completely get it because I've been there before. And it's filling out the FAFSA form. And you're probably wondering, why the heck would I fill this out if I have DACA or I'm undocumented and the federal government is not going to give me any money for me to go to school? Okay, let me explain why. If you fill out the FAFSA form and you have DACA and you're undocumented, fill it out to the best that you can. Even if you mess it up, that's okay, because you're going to get rejected for federal aid because you're not a US citizen, right? Showing that rejection that you get from FAFSA is showing a scholarship benefactor that you're not receiving money for federal aid, and it's telling them, oh, they're not getting federal aid money? Absolutely, we need to help them and give them a scholarship. So having that rejection with FAFSA is saying, I need money. I've completely ran out of that resource. I don't have any other way to pay for school. So make sure you fill out FAFSA if you're in undergrad. Even if you fill it out wrong, that's okay. As long as it's saying that rejection, that you're not getting federal aid because you're not a US citizen, that's what you need. You just need that rejection. So when you're applying for scholarships and they ask you for finance, if you filled out FAFSA, you said, yes, I did, and I don't receive it, like I get rejected for it. perfect. That's what you need to do, okay? The next thing that I do want to talk about, this is for my kiddies, my high school kiddies that are still in high school, are about to transition into college, or even you guys that are in college right now. This really helped me out big time when I was in high school. I joined a program called the College Reach Out Program, and this program helps low-income students, first-generation and college students transition into college. And I almost did not qualify for that program because not because I had DACA, but because I didn't have my social security number at the time, because I had just filed for DACA for the first time in 2012. But once I got my social security number, I applied for this program, I got in, and this program, oh my God, was a lifesaver for me. It helped me transition into community college. It offered me my first couple scholarships, and they did not have that much money for me. I remember at the time I could only go part-time because that's all they could offer me. But then they found other ways to get me more scholarships. So I highly recommend you look for organizations, programs in your college, in your university, that is helping first generation college students, low income students, whatever it may be. Look for those programs at your university. I will say this though, be careful, okay? Do your research before you're applying to these organizations and programs, because I worked for the TRIO Student Support Services program at State College of Florida. And that was sort of an extension to the CROP program, because CROP is transitioning those high school students into college. But once they're in college, CROP isn't really helping them that much. So they needed another program, which TRIO came in, and TRIO is helping those students while they're in college. Now, I was a big sort of person in interviewing students, because you had to interview them before they got in the program. And there was this rookie mistake, and I was telling my supervisor, the director, I was like, we need to be careful about this because it's affecting DACA students or undocumented students. This is not okay. That program, you had to be a US citizen. That was the requirement, one of the requirements. And by accident, sometimes they would hand out an application form without asking them, like, did you fill out, like, this is the key. Did you fill out your FAFSA? And the students would say yes or no. And if they said no, then I would ask them why. And some of them would tell me because I have DACA. And then I would know they wouldn't qualify for the program. The program has their own rules, requirements, and I work in it, so I have to go by it. The problem was some of the employees in the program were not digging a little bit deeper, and they were inviting those students for an interview. And once the students were sitting down talking about themselves and their life stories, they would say they were DACA. They had to completely stop the interview and tell them, I'm sorry, you don't qualify for this program. And I've been there before where I didn't get a scholarship because I'm not a citizen, and how heartbroken I was. And I know that's happened to other people as well. So I had to tell them, like, please be careful who you're inviting for an interview, because it's setting students' hopes and expectations really high, and then it's breaking those hopes and dreams for them. So for me, my advice to you is do look for these programs, look for these organizations at your college and university, but look at the requirements, okay? Just don't set your hopes up too high. There's also programs that if you're into business, if you're into science, there are those programs separately for, you know, those majors, those fields. I know State College of Florida had one called B2B, and it was specifically for the science majors. And my friend was in that program, and she got so much from that program. And these programs, guys, they have money, okay? That's why I'm mentioning this in this video. They have money, they have the funds to give to students. And let me tell you, when I worked there, the amount of money I saw leave for students, And especially if you become a member of these programs or organizations, be very involved. Be super involved, because when there's extra money that's just lingering around and they have to spend that money and they want to give it to a student, they're going to give it to a student that's been so involved in the program. And I would know because I've seen this happen, and it's happened to me too. So please, if you're going to join organizations or programs, go to the events, attend the workshops, whatever it may be, but be involved, okay? Because money's there, and then there's a lot of extra money lying around, and they're trying to figure out, who do we give this money to? You should want to be that person they want to give that money to. So think about that. There's always money floating around every year. Let me tell you, the next thing that I do want to talk about, this is basically what paid for me my associate's degree and my bachelor's degree. And it really varies from college and university, but this was like my life savior. So my community college and even my university, so State College of Florida, had what was called a foundation. And in the foundation, students had to apply for it every single year. There was an application that would open from January through March. Could depend, vary on your school and their foundation, but mine was from January to March. And that application, basically, you're giving them all your information of who you are. If you're DACA, I remember they had updated that in the application, wanting to know if you were DACA, what field you're in. So at the time I was doing education and switching to history, but still doing education with history. So if you're in business, make sure you say your business, in the sciences, whatever it may be. But that application, students had to be very specific, very detailed. And then they had an essay to write about why they needed scholarship money. Okay. I can do another video on that, or I can go on TikTok live and we could talk about, I could do a scholarship workshop. I literally could. I've done it with my students in the community college, but literally you have to write an essay of like why you need scholarship money. And that's when I would say I got rejected for financial aid, for federal aid, and I have DACA, so my resources are really limited on where I can apply for a scholarship. This foundation was phenomenal because once the application got submitted electronically, they would match me up with certain scholarships. So it's where the hopes are not set so high, like where you're like, okay, they're not going to match you up with something that you don't qualify for. So I'm a history major, right? They're going to match me up with history scholarships or education scholarships. They're going to match me with that. And they're going to make sure that I meet the requirements as well. So they're going to make sure I have the amount of credits that I need. They're going to make sure if that scholarship's asking for a student to be a US citizen, they're not going to match me with that scholarship because I checked off DACA in the application. So, oh my God, the amount of money that I got, that basically paid my entire associate's degree. And when I went to do my bachelor's degree, I transferred to the University of South Florida. So I did my 2 years, my associate's degree, then my 2 years for my bachelor's degree at USF. The foundation had a transfer scholarship, and I remember USF had a foundation. It was really complicated at the time because it was USF Sarasota, but they told me that I did not qualify for their foundation, blah, blah, blah. It was people in the financial aid office that were not very well informed, and I know that now, but it was also a smaller campus. They didn't have a lot of funding. But State College of Florida knew my situation, understood my situation, and they saw how good of a student I was, how very well involved I was. I was also a student with a 3.8 GPA, and if a scholarship asked me for a 3.0 GPA, I was aiming above a 3.0 because I knew I had to keep that scholarship. So The foundation knew how well I was of a student, and they had a transfer scholarship that they hadn't used for quite a bit, and they gave it to me. And the benefactors of that transfer scholarship were actually alive, and I got to meet them several times for lunch once a year. And I remember, again, I had to go to school part-time for my bachelor's because it wasn't a lot of money, and when you're moving up degrees, it gets more pricey in tuition, okay? So I had to take 2 classes again a year, and I met my benefactors in person, and I said, hey, you know, I'm doing really well in school, I'm really pushing through, I'm getting the good grades. Is there a way that you guys could give me a little bit more money so I can go full time? Guess what? They said yes, so they gave me more money. But if it wasn't for this foundation at my community college, I would have been screwed. Seriously. So I suggest you look into, it might not be called foundation, they might have a different name than mine did, but I would look into that. I know sometimes it's iffy talking to the financial aid department. It's like talking to a brick wall sometimes, or even advisors, but sometimes don't just go talk to one particular advisor. Go get the advice of another advisor. That's why I'm saying join programs in the college, because there's people that have more insight about this kind of stuff. And it might not be called foundation. It might be called like a scholarship program or something like that. I don't know. There's got to be something, because I know my community college had it, my university had it, but they told me I didn't qualify for it. Probably now I might qualify if I was still a student, because they changed the rules and stuff. There's always something going on. But I would suggest find somebody that has the answer. And oh, that's another thing I was gonna say. I was never good at looking for external funding. I knew that there was a lot of scholarships that DACA recipients received specifically for them for external funding. External means like outside of the university area, college area. I was never good at finding those, and I don't know. I stuck to this. This was why I was so successful. Is I feel like external scholarships, they're super competitive, so they're so much harder to get them. I'm not saying don't apply to them. If you feel like you can apply, you have the time, you feel like you can get that external scholarship, go ahead and apply for it. But I feel like the internal scholarships are so much easier to get because you're part of the institution. So it's worked out for me in that way. Again, I would say look for external scholarships for DACA recipients or undocumented immigrants, but I would say the key is the internal scholarships. And they're there, trust me, they're there. Somebody knows something like that can definitely help you, and you just got to find that one person. And I did that. I found that one person, which led me to another person, to more connections of people in the college. So okay, so I have 2 more things I want to talk about. As an undergrad, you know, you're kind of figuring out what you want to do with your degree. If you want to be in the sciences, if you want to be in business, if you want to be an educator, whatever it may be. But once you finally find that rhythm of that field that you want to be, I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to find that one professor that just makes you want to go to class and makes you want to learn what they're teaching. I highly recommend that you talk to that professor and you build a really good relationship with that professor, because let me tell you, it wasn't so much my associate's degree, but my bachelor's degree. I met a great professor. This man made me want to learn history, and He was doing more ancient history and I do more US, but when he would teach, it was like he was bouncing off the walls. Like that's how excited he was to come to class to teach, to be really into it. And I built such a great relationship with this professor that I didn't think that many years later he would become my boss. So yeah, he became my boss. Was not planned. But honestly, he was such a great mentor to me. He never advised me with my undergrad thesis or my master thesis, but he was like my number one fan, like supporting me, because I built such a great relationship with this man. And because of him, my master's, I wasn't gonna go do a master's. I told him, I was like in his office, I was like, I don't think I can do a master's, because if it was so hard to get all this money, all this funding for my bachelor's, I can't imagine a master's. It's more expensive. So how would I, like, I'm thinking in my mind, like, I need more than just a couple scholarships. And he's like, Sophia, that is why you apply to the graduate assistantship. And I told him, I was like, but I have DACA. He's like, so it's fair game for everybody with that. That is for another video. If you want to learn how I paid for my master's and my PhD right now, a graduate assistantship is completely separate from getting scholarship. It's not the same process. It's different, but it's better. It's so much better. And because I made this connection with this man so early on, guys, I would have not went for my master's, and I would not be here doing my PhD. So I have to, trust me, I have given this man so many thank yous in person. Like I said, he ended up being my boss. I ended up working for him for a year, and he was phenomenal. So I really am going to encourage you and push you to find that one professor that's going to just inspire you. And I had students when I worked at the community college tell me, well, I don't want to be a professor. Why would I want to go to like my professor and talk to them about this? I'm like, you guys, your professors did the thing. They went and did the thing that you're trying to do, okay? They have the degree in that. Just because they're a professor doesn't make them any different. They went and they studied what you're trying to do. So go talk to them. Because yeah, it's gonna open another different door for you, trust me. The last thing that I do want to say, and I'll probably say this in my other video, is both of my parents did not graduate high school in Argentina, and they really couldn't help me with my homework when I was a kid here, and I struggled a lot with my English and my homework, and even in college. Okay, like my parents were like, you gotta go to college, but you gotta figure it out. We don't know how to guide you how to do that. So I have a lot of love and respect for my parents, but my parents were kind of like, you are on your own with this path in education. And it is what it is. And I feel like it's made me the person that I am today. It's made me such an advocate of who I am, to push through and push through and push through. So the advice that my dad gave me, and I will give the advice that my mom gave me in the other video about master's and PhD, but the advice that my dad gave me, and I've taken this throughout my years in academia, he said, Sophia, the worst thing that somebody can tell you is no. If you ask for a scholarship and they say no, that's the worst thing that they can say to you. Move on and find another direction, another path, another person that can guide you to finding the answer, the solution that you need. So the worst answer that somebody can say to you is no, and that's right. Like it's true. Like I've had people say, no, we can't really help you. Okay, thank you so much. Moving on to whatever else I need to do, whatever I need to do to get what I need to get, to do what I need to do for my education. So that's my dad's advice. So if you want to learn about a master's and a PhD and a graduate assistantship and how I paid, so again, my master's was paid through, my PhD is paid through. I have the answers for that, but it's completely different to applying to a scholarship. So if you want that advice or my mom's advice, I am happy to make another video. I really hope that this video was helpful for you guys. And please, 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 please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, because I want to know who I'm interacting with. I want to know if this video was helpful for you. So please let me know, and please subscribe to my channel. It would mean so much to me. Follow me on TikTok. I make so many videos on TikTok, same username that I have on my YouTube. And yeah, I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.